To create our weaving, we are going to need this cardboard piece, which is our loom, a plastic needle, a white string, and some colored string or yarn. So the first thing we're going to do is set up our loom, which is this cardboard piece. We need to take our white piece of yarn and we need to tie a knot at one end of it, as close to the end as we can. We don't want to put the knot way over here or in the middle somewhere. So if you do not know how to make a knot, this is an easy way that I can think of to show you guys. We take the top of the yarn and go around in a circle so it's laying on top of the piece that's going down, and then it goes around and through from the bottom. Then you just tighten it, and you can kind of push the knot closer to the end as you tighten. Now this one single knot is not going to stay if you put it in one of these notches. So we need to make it thicker. We need to tie another knot directly on top of it. So that gets a little bit tricky. If you don't get it the first time, it's okay. So we're gonna do the same thing again. Take this top part of the yarn, loop it around in a circle, so it's laying over it, and then behind and up through the bottom. And then this one, you just kind of scoot the knot until it's sitting on top of your other knot, and then try to get them on top of each other. If you need help, we can help each other. But now our knot is big enough that it should, we can test it out, stay without going through when you pull on it. Now we need to set up this string into the loom. We are going to take our yarn and go down to the bottom, over, and up the next notch. Up, in, over, in, down and in, over and in, up and in, over, down, over, up, over, down. So on the front you have completely straight vertical lines, and on the back you don't have lines. You just have these little dashes going across your notches. We are going to take a piece of tape and tape it right here. A little piece of tape right here. And also, before we turn these in today, we're gonna take a piece of tape and put it on the back and write our name on it. All right, so now that we have our loom set up, this white yarn that we put in here is called the warp. The warp goes vertical. Those are the lines that always stay in one place as you're weaving. When you get your next piece of yarn, this yarn is going to be the one that goes over and back over and over and over, and that is called the weft. Weft goes left. That's how I always remember it. Weft goes left. So to begin our weaving, we're gonna take our plastic needle and we're going to thread the eye. The hole in your needle is called the eye of the needle. And this yarn is pretty thick, so you might be able to push it right on through with there, but this one I can't. It's been used before. If you look closely at a piece of yarn, it is multiple pieces that are twisted around. So sometimes you can just keep twisting it in the direction that it goes, and it will help tighten up the end, and you can stick it through. Another way you can do it is fold it in half and push that part through. And when you see a little bit come through, you can kind of pull on it. And we can help each other get this part done too. Oh, if you get just a little bit in, look what's happening. This is all getting skinny on this side. That's not what we want. That's gonna make your yarn do weird things. Look what it's already doing. It's separating itself. So that is one of the pieces that make up the whole piece of yarn. If it's not working at all, you can always take a piece of, or take some scissors and snip it to make it straight again. I'm just gonna use the other side right now. I'm gonna twist it and put it in. get a little bit through. There we go. And we don't need to tie a knot on this end. We don't need to pull it a super long way. We're gonna leave it hanging with a little tail. And your tail, you might want it to be as long as maybe your 4 fingers or a little bit longer. That way it doesn't fall out later. So you're gonna leave that hanging on. For our weaving, it's a pattern. Under, over, under, over, under, over, or over, under, over, under, over, under. You're gonna start with your needle and you're going to go under 1, over, under, over, and you can start to pull it through. Your needle is like the car, it has to be driving. You can never go with the yarn. So this one went under last, so it goes over, under, and then I'm gonna pull it. See, my tail is following, so I don't have to worry about it. And it goes all the way through. Now, we need to pull this yarn, all this extra. We don't wanna leave it behind. So I have to sit here. At the beginning, it kind of takes a while because you have to pull all the extra through. Oh, this is getting knotted up, so I'm gonna be gentle. And I'm gonna leave a tail hanging off here too. I don't wanna pull it all the way through. And then we're going to push it up to the top. Because we want our weaving to take up the whole cardboard piece. Okay, now, got my little race car needle here. The last one I did was under. So this time, what do? Over. So it goes over this white one, under, over, under, then what? Over, under, and over. And the tail is following, so I don't have to worry about it. And then all this extra needs pull through. So I'm gonna pull it until this loop at the end is around this yarn. I don't want to pull it too tight because look what it starts to do to the warp. The warp is our white string. We don't want to warp the warp. So gently, you want it tight but not too tight, and then push it up. Now, where's my needle over here? Now my needle is ready. I went over last, so now I go under, over, under, and you just repeat that pattern. Under, over. Ran out of yarn, so I went and got a new piece. I'm gonna stick with the same color. So I leave this tail hanging off. I'm gonna thread my needle just like I did at the beginning. I got my long piece of yarn just to make sure I have enough. And leave a tail hanging off of your needle. And I'm gonna pick up right where I left off. This one went over last, so now I go under, over, under, over, under, over, under. Pull it all the way through. One thing I forgot to, here's the end of my yarn. Pull all the way through and leave a tail hanging out. So we'll take care of these tails at the end. But one thing I forgot to tell you guys was if you make a mistake, it's really easy to fix because all you have to do is pull out what you've done You might only have to pull a little bit out and redo it. None of it's permanent until we take it off the loom. But make sure you don't go too fast, you're paying attention. It's kind of easy to get into a rhythm and then make a mistake because we're not paying attention anymore. Here's my finished weaving. I got it all to the end. And at the end, if you have any gaps, like holes that you can see, just gently push up all the yarn. You might just have to tighten it and then you can fit more in. So now I have extra yarn. We don't have to worry about that. I'm gonna take my needle out, set it off to the side, and I can cut this extra yarn off, and we can save this for maybe somebody else who might need it. And I do have these little tails. I told you we would deal with them at the end. We have to get this off of our loom, off of the cardboard. So the first thing we're going to do is gently kind of take these off. We're not gonna cut them. We're just gonna loop them off the cardboard. And once you get one or two off, it should kind of loosen up. So I did all those ones. Take out the part that has the knot too. And then these ones should slide right off. And we can take this tape off the end that was holding the last little bit of string. We don't need that anymore. So now I have my weaving. You can see that our warp left some holes here. So we can very gently pull them tighter. So we're gonna pull, start from where you had your knot. It goes down and up. So we can pull this loop from the top. And now this loop is really big, so we're gonna follow it down and pull very gently. Pull this one down. I wanna loosen that. So it tightens that one. And then, oh, I think I weaved that into the white. Let's rip it off. Now this loop is really big, so we have to pull the next one from the top, tighten it. I'm kind of holding my weaving still as I'm pulling the warp. You can hold your weft still, the part that goes side to side. And I can help you with this. Your friends can help you if you're having trouble. This one. And then this is my last one right here. Your tails. If you have some that are close to each other, we can tie them off. So these two are right next to each other. I'm just gonna tie them in a knot like you're tying your shoe. Tie it in a double knot so that it stays. See, these aren't really close to each other. So I can put this through my needle and we can hide it inside our weaving. So I'm just gonna take my needle and kind of go down the side. See if I can pull that string all the way down to the bottom. You have to be gentle. Your weaving is kind of fragile. Aha, there it is. And then you might have to kind of pull your weaving back into shape. Oh, now these ones are close to each other. So I'm just gonna tie these together. I can help you. If you don't know what to do with some of yours, you can't decide, then ask a friend, see if they have a good idea. Ask me, we can all help each other. A lot of the time, there's no right or wrong answer. It's just a decision that you have to make of which solution you want to do to finish it all off.